Guys, welcome back. This is very sensitive subject matter, and we advise any minors to, you know, if you want to continue to listen, that's fine. But just you might want to be accompanied by an adult. I really appreciate you for wanting to shed light by telling your story, some of your life story, and I just wanted you to know that I appreciate you and I'm here for you, and I don't want you to say anything that you don't feel comfortable saying. And so, with that being said, we'll just start at what age do you remember?
Um, I know at 3 I was molested. Do I actually remember the actual act? No, I remember the aftermath. At 6, I was put into foster care. Between 8, just I guess to keep it simple, between 8 and 12, I moved back home with my mom in Stonegate and also lived with my aunt. 12, moved to Huntsville to a group home, the Harris Home for Children. Stayed there until I ran away. 14, I was
Mm.
17, ran away, got pregnant, had my first child at 18, got pregnant at 18, had my second child at 19. Went through domestic violence, lost my children, not for a year, but for some months to foster care. They were in custody when they were young, between I think I was about 22, and when that happened, got them back. Went through some more life changes, lessons, had about enough, shifted from my hometown, moved back to Huntsville, and from there, it's just pretty much life changes. Kind of put more. I learned to put my focus into not only what's best for me, but what's best for me and my children. Because of course, I told you I got them back, and then later on, my life changed. God blessed me with career where I was able to get the counseling I need, going into my late 20s, all the way up until my middle 30s, where I eventually meet my husband, and then here I am, getting ready to turn 41.
Wow. Of course, you just took us really fast. So let's go ahead and rewind a little bit. So at 3, you say you experienced a SA at 3, and so like, with who were you with your parents at that point? Grandparents at that point?
Yes, I was with my family. From my understanding, it was a friend of the family, or my grandmother's friend grandson. My grandmother had us majority of the time because my mom had an addiction of drugs. So we were with her most of the time. We got put into foster care at 6 years old because my youngest brother, I'm 6 years older than him. He was born at that time. He was born with drugs in his system, and so anytime they find out, they automatically put you into the system. Which we still stayed with my grandmother for a little while because she became our foster parent until some issues and stuff happened. Then I was put into a couple different homes before I went back to my mom.
So at 6, that was at 6 when you okay, and so what? Just a little bit of the foster care experience from 6 to 14, because of course I want to stop at that 14 because I heard something. I think we all heard something at the 14, and so from 6 to 14, what was that experience like leading up to that? That the other situation.
Um, 6 to 14. Okay, so when we got taken, I was separated from my brothers. It wasn't like they took us and put us all in the same home. So you experienced that first separation. I think those years definitely helped shape the mindset, or shape kind of like the person with the trauma that I had to deal with later on in life. When I mentioned, I went through counseling and all this other stuff. So I guess, okay, so I went to a couple different, my first home, you get put into with foster care, you get put into a short-term home. And then you're supposed to get with somebody like, for full time. But in my case, my mother ended up going through the steps and got us back. But then she lost us.
So let me ask you, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Very sorry, I apologize. That process that you're talking about, the in-between home, or what did you call short-term home? Okay, do people come around to look and pick kids? I just gotta ask.
I see, because I was so young,
You don't remember?
I don't actually remember
Yeah.
how the picking process went.
Yeah.
I do know that whoever chose me didn't want to deal with my brothers. I also remember of some of the other race that took me in wanted me because I was this pretty little black girl with this beautiful hair, and they tend to cater to
The whites?
graduate, to what they think they can. And this is just my experience. I'm not saying for all.
Were they good whites? Because there are good whites.
They were
So-
good to me.
Okay, well, the good whites.
I was introduced into dance and pageants at a young age, which later on, when I went to the Harris home, I continued. Yeah, so
So what about the Harris home?
the Harris home. So we moving forward.
That was a good experience. I mean, I was asked, what age was that?
That's when I left my aunts at 12, finna get ready to turn 13.
Oh,
and went to-
that's moving way forward. Okay.
So yeah, I went through a couple of different. I went through short term, and then I was placed in a home. Then I went back to my mom, and then they took us from my mom, where you placed into another home temporarily. To I guess at that time, that's when my auntie stepped up and decided to get custody because she wanted to keep us all together. Because clearly, I guess with our behavior, it played a part. I guess on me and my, even as adults, it played a part on our closeness or our relationship. So she got us to keep us together. We stayed some years with her until I went to Huntsville.
Okay. And so you went there at 12? Okay. So how was that experience?
I think I spoke some of this before on my personal page. For me, at the time, none of the experience of being in a different home away from your family is a good experience.
Right.
It's going to be trauma because you're torn away from the only environment that you know of people, whether it's toxic or whether it's what's the word I'm looking for?
Positive or not?
Positive or functional or not. You know what I'm saying? Dysfunction or not.
Yeah.
It's what you know. It's the people you know. It's the love you know. And then to be taken from the city that you know, because I was living in a small town. We live in a small town, so the people that you're familiar faces and stuff. Now you're into the unfamiliar. So it's anytime you go into the unfamiliar, it's going to be discomfort. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be good. But that's usually where you find your most growth. So when I look back at it, I'm thankful for it because I was blessed with a foster parent who was I thank God. And I thank God for that. Each home I went to, I was blessed to be able to know that they all believed in Jesus Christ. They all was Christian, whatever denomination, whatever the religious part, they all believed in Jesus Christ. And I say that because that's important because he was always with me no matter what I went through. But I was a teenager when I got fully aware, and I'm thankful for her to be, saying she was kind of strict. She made us read the Bible. She made us, go to church and pray and things I still do now.
The good blacks.
Yeah, yes.
Sound like she done a good job.
She did.
So at 14, I heard a essay. It sounded like the R word, and so. How are you comfortable going into that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what was that situation?
So when I was 14, what was that? 98? 90s. We're talking about the 90s, okay? And this is a time, or girls might still do it, where because of all the things I had been through, I was what you would call fast. I thought I was grown. I went through a rebellion stage. Not because I was just, I just had a lot of issues, And so I had a foster sister who was talking to a guy who had a brother. And of course, me being me, I get on the phone and start talking to the brother and lied like I was 16 years old. 14 and 16 is too different. I know that, what I'm saying? Like the mindset, I just left from being 13 to 14. You see what I'm saying? But I'm saying I'm 16, which is just, it's a little difference. So I lied about being 16 years old. The guy's supposed to be, I lied because he said he was 18. And of course, he wants to talk to a little girl because I'm saying I'm grown, Mm-hmm. And at this time, we had been talking on the phone, and me and my sister decided that we're going to sneak out and go see the guys. During the process of going to see them, of course, my sister and her boyfriend ended up leaving the apartment. We was at an apartment. And now all that stuff that I was saying and talking good on the phone, I'm now in a situation where the guy wants to move forward on it. Well, now the little girl that's really 14 comes out and say, "Hey, like really, I'm a virgin. I don't know." You know what I'm saying? And it just at that point, things is heated. And I hate to say it like this, but when you tease people, when you lead them on, you put yourself in a situation. And I'm not saying that I deserved it. What I'm saying is I was in an environment where we were kissing, we were supposed to lead to something, and then I got scared and was like, no. Now, no do means no. And when I said no, at this point, they were not hearing it. And so they end up forcing themselves on me, into me. And, that's what happened.
So, no definitely means no. And thank you so much for sharing it right there. I think that should be able to help somebody who might be out here playing games and talking about things that they don't know about and acting like they're about a life that they're not about. But what was conversations on the phone? What did he feel like? Was there sexual nature conversations on the phone? But because to make him think that you were enticing him on the phone?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we are talking about something that happened.
I remember 14, we all talked crazy.
Yeah, listen now, we're talking about, so verbatim knowing exactly what we talked about,
not.
I don't know. But I do remember it was songs like R. Kelly and Change the Fate, Let Me Stroke You Up. And so when you're hearing that type of music, you're talking about like, yeah, I'm going to stroke you up when I see, I'm just, I'm telling you what I remember without knowing, exactly what the terms was. But I remember who I am and what I did, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you're talking like that. You're talking grown. You're thinking that you're talking about stuff you have no idea what's going on because of the lyrics and stuff that you'd heard or seen on TV. I think during that time, Love Jones, what I'm saying? Like different little stuff. So yeah, those conversations now, it goes from being, what school you go to, how old are you, this and that, to, now, especially if you're fast and you're thinking that you're grown and want to do something. Now you're talking about stuff you really don't know, but you heard. Yeah. So
like a young lady in today's time who might be listening to Sexy Red's new Oochie Coochie.
See, yeah, I don't.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but it was sensitive to me, and I'm really, I really appreciate you telling the story because I have a child, I have a daughter who's in this world, and it's what I'm saying. It's very sensitive to me. I don't ever want her to. You see what I'm saying? And so, if we can reach anybody, any parent, any child, period. You know what I'm saying? I think that's huge.
Can I say this too? When it comes to our young ladies, our children, I think it's important to keep them as innocent as possible. When I see these young girls allow their kids to get these lace fronts or dress, and not even a lace fronts, I can understand the hair being done because, girls like to look good, but, certain clothing, one thing, and not to just deviate, what I'm saying, what we were talking about, but one thing that my foster mom did not allow, even though if I was covered up, I couldn't wear fitted clothes at 12, 13, 14. She said it attracts certain stuff. I used to think, of course, at that time, she's hating. I'm not showing, like, we already couldn't show our stomachs, and my homegirls get to wear their belly shirts and tube tops. You see what I'm saying? But she wouldn't let me wear the at that time was bell bottoms, fitted, and, all that stuff because I was still a child. And so because I was a child, she wanted to keep me as a child. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's important. I just wanted to point that out because there are in today's time, there are a lot of mothers allowing their kids to do so much stuff. And I just think it's so important to keep their innocence, especially the young ladies, because there are predators out there. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
And then see, during my time, you mentioned Sexy Red. Look, Kim was out. Look, Kim saying stuff. I'm sneaking and listening to stuff I had no business. So yeah, when we had this conversation on the phone, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure I said some stuff definitely, to make him think we were going to do whatever when he saw me.
Yeah. So moving forward, what was done about that situation? Was anything done about that situation?
So, okay. So the act happened, and I'm sitting there feeling less than I did before because I already felt the way because of all the other experiences I went through as a child, even though I'm still a child. And now when my sister them come back, I'm kind of ashamed to go back home.
Did you tell her? Did they know what? Were
There
you
was
guys in communication at that point? Was
I
she?
told her, she wanted to know why I was sitting there crying and stuff, and I told her, and there was some words said, and we her ended up having to leave. We actually we ended up having to leave walking. You know what I'm saying? Like it was that type of stuff. But her boyfriend ended up coming to get us, taking to us to a place. I felt so bad. I didn't want to go home and face or say what happened, but of course we ended up going home. When I went home and shared what had happened, of course, because I was a child of the state or awarded to the state, my social worker is called. And I remember I remember having to go to the hospital and be checked and all that good stuff, that they do. I remember us having this meeting, and my foster mom would have pressed charges if she could, but because I wasn't really her custody, who had to press charges was the state, because I was awarded to the state because I was in DHR custody. And my worker, when you're in foster care, they have like a file. They keep up with this file. So they got on there the reasons they were called, for you. They have also inside that whatever other stuff that people, whatever investigation they did that was told to them. And then like it just follows you, right? All the way up. Remind you, I was put in foster care at 6 years old. So it's pretty lengthy. They said that I was lying about it being a virgin. My mom never sold me anything, but my mom had supposed to been doing all this stuff because she, was on drugs, and that I was lying, and they made him stay in jail one day, but they did not want to move forward because it wasn't a good look, to make such a big case when they take kids, put them in protection, not so they can get in more harm or, have anything happen to them. So nothing was done, and it really did, it did affect me a lot during that time.
So it was swept under the rug because that wouldn't have been beneficial and or a good look for the state for that to have happened on their time. Is that what you saying?
That was basically what was said and explained to me. I was sitting there. I remember my foster mom was upset, and it came out that the guy was not 18. He was 24 years old. So I was 14. He was 24. And, just looking back, y'all job is to protect me. Your job, regardless of how rebellious, but they didn't. I think the most thing, and I can't remember exactly how she said it, but what she said, that basically said I deserved it. That right there stung so bad, and it hit me so hard to make me feel even more inadequate than I felt before at that time, to where I actually tried to commit suicide.
Yeah, that's a lot of trauma.
But God.
Yeah.
But God, because, well, and the reason I say but God, because even though I tried to commit suicide, obviously it didn't work. For two, I had a praying foster mom. I remember the doctors talking to her, and she was like, no, whatever the case might have been, maybe they were talking about putting me on medication or something like that. And she wasn't hearing it. What she did, I used to wake up literally with my forehead oily. She prayed over me. She pleaded the blood on me. She made me get in that Bible, which is what I call prescriptions. Scriptures for, is like a medicine, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, we're talking about a young Janara. I didn't understand what God was doing and how he was going to get me through that, because you're looking at a person who overcome a lot, and I owe nobody but God the glory. You see what I'm saying? So at that time, by her doing that, instead was building me, was preparing, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely, I wouldn't be sitting here had I not gone through that and God carried me through it, if that makes sense.
Of course, yeah.
That's why I say, but God, he gave me the right white foster parent to get me through it. To teach me and pour into me what I needed.
Cause see, at some age we all gonna rebel no matter what. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, man, But anyway, moving forward. So you had your first child at 18?
So when you go through so much trauma, because I end up running away, right? So now I'm still, those feelings that I felt through the years of not feeling good enough and all this stuff, and feeling less than, I'm still feeling that way. I don't feel like I'm worthy. So now I'm looking for love in places, temporary love that it's not real love, you know what I'm saying? So now I get pregnant, and that situation, I mean, look, no offense, but just looking back, I would chose better people. I would have done things differently, But yeah, I ended up getting pregnant, having 2 kids by the age of 19.
Okay, okay. So, what was the experience like being such a young parent, like almost a child with children? Like, what was that experience like at that, you were super young.
Yes. Okay, so I ran away, which means I didn't have my own place and stuff. I'm living from place to place. I was on the run for a whole year because technically I was still rewarded to the state because I wasn't grown. However, because I stayed on the run for a year and I turned 18, I don't think they was really looking for me. I was here in Decatur just living from place to place. But I ended up staying with my mom, who was at the time still on drugs or still battling her addiction. And it was for me to have my children, it was life changing because with Braxton, my oldest son, I didn't have my own place. I was still living with my mother. Me and him lived with some family members and went to different places. But it was a humbling experience because when I turned 19, I was called on my birthday for my first apartment. Me and my son, I was so happy to have my own. Like I got my lights turned on and me and him laid on the floor. Like me and my baby laid on a pallet on the floor. I was just happy to have my own.
Now, how old was that?
I was 19.
19.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
with my
so
first child.
that was a huge blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you was able to appreciate that your own space for the first time ever.
Yes.
I bet that was a really good feeling with or without the children. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because I was so broken at that time, I was still dealing with all I ever wanted was like love. I think any child that goes through trauma, they want to feel belong and they want love. You know what I'm saying? And temporarily, I got a piece of the love that I was looking for from my child because it didn't matter what I did. I was the world in my boy's eyes. You know what I'm saying? In my son's eyes. He was a baby. This little life depended on me,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I ended up learning a type of love, but I guess it was still life changing.
Of course.
Because the way my foster mom raised us, girls and stuff, and my relationship with God at the time, because I did get saved, I got saved at 6, but I was fully aware of what I was doing and, asked God to come in my life as a teenager, about 15. I think I was 15. And when I got pregnant back then, you were told you're not supposed to have kids out of wedlock. You're supposed to be married when you get pregnant and all that stuff. So at that time, the enemy had played on my mind because I felt even less like, oh my God, I'm letting God down and I'm not married and stuff. So I remember asking God to just bless my son and to just help, to help me in that, and just to bless him because even though I was strayed so far away, I knew where my roots was because anytime life got hard, I went to the Lord and prayed and stuff. And he never failed me. Honestly, I can really go into those stories, but yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. How you felt as being such a young mother. Is there any other parts of your younger life that you wanted to share from that 19 because you got the boys across the stage, right? They graduated, right?
So
you got one in college, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to moving forward and healing, one thing I know with all experience, because I did lose them, and I told you I lost them to the DHR because of domestic violence.
How did that? What was that situation again? Did you ever speak on that before on the podcast?
When it comes to my domestic violence situation, my kids were like 2 and 3, I think, and I was in a relationship where back then, so now I think if you call, somebody's going to go to jail, but back then there was numbers of calls. The neighbors called, me calling, just from fighting and stuff. Where this one particular time, I called myself going to leave and move, but the person, they did the sweet talk and let me just come get my stuff and this and that, and I did. and they came and jumped on me so bad that my son, I always say he saved my life. He ran across to the neighbors and said, "Hey, my mommy can't breathe." And I was laying there, I couldn't move or nothing. It was that bad. When I got to the hospital, I had a broken rib, a cracked rib, and a collapsed lung, and only had 30% air, which means if I was stayed any longer, I could have died. But, and at that time, because of all the calls and everything, they came in and took my children. So when it comes to life experiences and the way that God moves, I think God allows things to happen to prepare you and to allow you to go through certain stuff so you can be a blessing later on. I really do believe he picks his strongest warriors and give those battles to get through. I really believe that he do know the plans that he has for you. So if you lean on him, and so I'm saying that because I'm sitting here telling my story, but if I really didn't have that, I went, and so I lost my kids because of this domestic violence, right? And I had to prove it. I went through such a depression where I'm talking, I was like 98 pounds. I'm seeing here a nice size now, but I was like 98 pounds. And God allowed my foster mom come back into my life at that time. I would never forget, because see, I used to just lay in their room and be so sick because they were gone. The only time I would get up, it was a Shell station around the corner where I would go get a shot of liquor and some Benadryl just so I can sleep the pain away again. But she came in and was like, "No, you get your stuff and you come and stay with me." And I went and stayed with her. And she spoke life into me. I learned about Joyce Meyer. She made me read The Confident Woman. She made me look in the mirror and tell myself I wasn't my mother, that you are going to get your children back. And it's poured into me enough to where I can get my kids back. You see what I'm saying? Where I was able to go and complete everything they needed to. So that's why I say they wasn't even gone long. But looking back at that, I think it was necessary for me to go through it, because all that anger and hate that I had for my mom, because she didn't come back and get us, it made me more knowledgeable and have more understanding of why things went the way with her, because I didn't have an addiction, which is known as a sickness. You see what I'm saying? And that situation also helped my mom to change and get her life on on the right path, because it bothered her, because she wanted to be there. She didn't like me seeing me going, on the same path. So she ended up being clean, and she's been clean now for some years. So I think over 20 years. But anyway, yeah.
That's crazy and amazing. So how did you get the kids back, and how long did it take you to get the kids back?
I say they were gone maybe 6 months. Because of domestic violence, you have to go through what we have here, but you used to have to go through some classes, what we call PAC, Parenting and Children, I think, teaching or something like that. Anyway, I went through some classes, just parenting classes. I went through some drug classes because I did have marijuana in my system. I went through those classes. I went through counseling. I had to work. I don't know if I told you, but what's amazing with that situation, as I was getting ready to, because I completed everything. I failed one drug test, which was the first one, and all the other ones I did not fail anymore. I was determined to get my boys. And thank God for Miss Marshall, who was the support, during that time. But I remember I was working at a shoe store called Blue Ribbon, and I was so excited because I was getting ready to go to court. And the woman came in. This is so true. The woman that came in, I'm helping her, and she was, just, if you know me, like I'm just a kind of like a bubbly person. And I was just, hey, I'm just excited. I get my babies home tomorrow. It's a possibility I get my babies home. She was like, good luck with that and everything. That woman ended up being the judge when I walked in the courtroom and saw that it was her. She just smiled at me. I want to say she winked, but she definitely smiled at me. And of course I got them back. So I wanted to tell that because I knew that was number God.
Yeah, that was favor. Yeah. So do you think, I want to ask a question. Do you think without these experiences and trials, tribulations, turmoil, toxicity, do you think that you would be the person that you are today?
No, I do not think I would be the person I am. Because even before I start building or being more intimate with my relationship with God, those things is what led me to understand, like looking back through the years and realizing, oh, God was there the whole time. But going through those stuff helped me know, like, I see people that, like, I'll give you an example. we talked about it, I think the R. Kelly situation. I was so upset and passionate about it because I know what real rape is. I know what fast is. I know if you were 17 and you were somewhere you weren't supposed to be and you're lying about your age, I don't think a person, you know what I'm saying, that you actually consented to. Because I know what it is to have it forced on you. You see what I'm saying? And
Taken.
Taken from you. So when they're saying and it didn't sound like this, it sounded like, oh, y'all talking about some what is statutory, and it was just like, I'm passionate about that type of stuff because I know what it really is. I'm passionate about when I see people and they make excuses because there's no excuse about like, oh, this happened to me and that happened to me. No, you have to face those things. You have to put in the work. You have to own your part of it. Not saying that I deserved anything, but I had to own, Janara got to make better decisions when it comes to men. There's a reason she keeps choosing these type of men. Janara is not the person, they say she is. I am not a low life. I am not inadequate. I am this and I'm that. I'm talking about before my relationship. I had to really face that. I didn't want my kids to be raised by this broken person. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be better. And you have to put in the work. So I definitely think it helped make me be a better person and make me more passionate when it comes to helping people.
So I heard you say one word, and it was excuses, but you didn't really bust it down. So were you saying excuses for not growing? Mm-hmm. Is that what you were saying that you don't like?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. When people make excuses and
because of adversity.
Yes. That
or hardship. Well, I mean, because no young lady, even though I get what you're saying, and I did, and you're owning up to you had a part in that situation, and that's very admirable. But no young lady should have to experience that. Period.
No, you shouldn't. But if you do experience it, it is your job.
And it's not their fault that it happened.
It is not their fault. Okay. If that happened to you, you have to know that just because this happened, because it wasn't your fault, because it wasn't your choice or whatever, however it happened, right? It's not on you. That part is not on you. So that doesn't mean that you're less than. That doesn't mean that you're not good enough. That doesn't mean that life stops here, because it doesn't. You can still be all that you want to be, all that you desire to be, but it is your job to put that work in. It is your job to get up from that spot and say, hey, I am not going to be the victim. I am going to be the victor. You see what I'm saying? So it is your job to do that. But yeah, because what I have seen happens is, and I even experienced it, you get stuck there because you feel like I deserved it. I caused it. This happened because of that. And you have to find, and what's so beautiful about life, God will allow people to come to help you. But if you ain't recognize, it's one thing making excuses, but you also got to recognize your blessings or the favor or the people that come. You got to look at the positive. There are some people that have great things going for them. They have the support system. They have the family, but they're so busy stuck. They can't even appreciate what they do have because they're worried about what they don't have. And I am sitting here and telling you, if you can and that's why I do my positive, inspirations and stuff, because if you can focus on the positive, if you can just focus on the positive, it's going to help uplift you from whatever darkness or whatever trauma or whatever experience that caused you to get to a place to where you're stuck.
So going back for a minute to the DV situation, what it sounded like were you saying that it was multiple, you guys were fighting back and forth on this was a regular basis? This was just a pure detoxic relationship? Okay, so why do you think women stay in those DV toxic relationships? The young ladies too. You see what I'm saying? I want to be able to help a young lady. I ain't talking to the folks my age, because the folks my age, if they choosing to get beat out here, then they just choosing to get beat.
I want to talk to the people our age, the young people, all of them. If you're deciding to stay somewhere that you're mistreated, that somebody's putting their hands on you, that they're blacking your eye, they're making you feel less than what you already feel, you need to get out. And it's your job to tell yourself that you deserve to get out. I think, from my experience, that people decide to stay there because they feel they don't deserve better and they just need to shift. It's a mindset. It's a mindset that feeling less than. It's a mindset with those insecurities. You know what I'm saying? Some type of inner work needs to happen so they can step out of that comfort zone. Some people feel like that's a love language, and it's not.
Love.
Yeah, and it's not.
Yeah, my dad told me when I was a younger man, and he said, son, some women, you don't ever want to put your hands on no woman or nothing like that. You rather run. And some women not going to be able to love you unless you put your hands on them because they think that fighting is normal and love. And so for me, that was mind blowing. And I don't think I ever experienced any women like that. You know what I'm saying? That they don't, because I can't beat you. I just can't just beat on women that I'm dating and then like I still want to lay up with her after I beat her. Like this, to me, that's crazy. So, I don't think any woman deserves domestic abuse. First of all, I
definitely think they should get out. There are some extreme cases where it could be harder to get out than some, even life-threatening. But if you get that one little chance that God provides you, take it and get out. Work on yourself. See, for me, and I can only speak from my experience, for me, I was making those decisions to be with these people that had no business being with me, that shouldn't have never had been in my space and be with me like that because of how I felt about myself. I felt like I didn't deserve a good person. I felt at that time. We're talking about younger, choosing when my kids are finna be 22 and 23. We're talking about when they're 20 years ago, when they were 2 and 3, when I went through that of losing them and that stuff. So I didn't feel worthy of anything else. Like, it wasn't that I didn't attract other guys. Like, there were some guys but when they come to me, I didn't even think like, what I'm talking, they ain't gonna want me once they see or know I went through this, because of my own self, my own mind. When I learned to get out my own mind and deal with those eternal issues, and don't get me wrong, it's hard. I can't tell you so many times. It was books I read. I just told y'all about the Confident Woman. It was stuff I read that hurt, like to actually have to face and realize, dang, that's what I am, or that's what I, what I'm saying, what it is, and own that. It hurts. And I can honestly say the work's never stopped, for real. I still put in work today to be the person I am. The only difference is that work is more into being the woman that God wants me to be. So he strengthens me in different ways. He feeds me and gives me a daily bread in different ways, whether it's reading or, however, he wants, we do it that day. But God, you can't go wrong. And I can't stress it enough, because that's what it was for me. As I look back, doing some of the worst, even those times, I tell you, like, I went to a church, because sometimes I went through, some low times, but I always knew because of what was instilled from me. I told y'all, I had foster homes, and every foster home I went to believed in Jesus Christ. And because what was instilled from me, I knew I can go to him and pray. When everything else failed, when I'm at my lowest, whatever the case may be, I can go to him. And there were times I would go and, it'd be little stuff that was planning, like, girl, you don't know how beautiful, or you too pretty to be going through that, or look, words I heard from my grandmother, saying would come back, or just little stuff that helped fuel something in me that made me want to do better, to want me to be on the, to do, to do something better for me and my children. Yeah.
But now, how normal do you think it is for a young lady to, let's say, because honestly, a lot of young ladies probably have went through with some of the things similar to what you've been through, right? And so, do you think it would be normal for the majority of these victims, or not victims, because they're not victims, but people who've been through trial tribulations, had scars, and are beginning to trying to heal? Do you think that it's normal for them to overcome that? And
I think everyone who goes through anything can overcome anything with God. I don't think God will bring you to something that He won't take you through. I really don't. And I believe, I honestly believe that no matter what the situation, whether you were raised to know Him or not, He's going to send somebody along the way to help put you on the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I was straight. I wasn't in church, so nobody at church and this and that, but it was some positive woman that comes and say, hey, you know, I see you with your boys and this, you know what I'm saying? Like it's something, and you need to gravitate to that instead of being so, don't be so broken, don't be so prideful, because all that stuff comes with this type of trauma, whether it's DV, whether it's SA, whether it's all the, well, no matter what trauma you go through, it comes with all this stuff, comes with pride, it comes with the attitude, it comes with rebellion, like it comes with it. And we can go into that on, another day, but it comes with so much. Don't allow that stuff to blind you from when the help come in whatever form, because usually it's positive. If somebody won't hurt you, but what happens a lot of times, why you don't hear a lot of stories of people overcoming, because they let that attitude, I don't need your help. Why you worried about me? I got this over here. I mean, I'm telling you what I know because I was her. I was that person. It took, cause man, Bridget came in my life when I was 14. I told you about that. It seemed like God just, every time I would get at my, she would just find me. It was weird. Like she was in Huntsville, I'm in Decatur, and she would just find like somebody. Bridget was looking for somebody like, I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? And they be like, you done look, you know, Bridget? Yeah, she been looking for, like she would just find me. You see what I'm saying? Those are the times I could have, and I did actually some of the times. I ain't getting in touch with her. I don't want her to see me like this, or she thinks she did something. You know, like there were times like that, but then there was times where, thank God that I pushed that pride away and was like, I'm gonna reach out, and it was life changing. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be open to. First of all, you gotta want change. You got to want better. Like, how much do you love yourself? You got to want to love yourself. When you that low and stuff and it's hard to love yourself, you got to work on loving yourself. How much do you love your kids? Do you love your kids enough to love yourself to get you to a place that they are better? That's what it was. My kids was my strength. I worked on me because I wanted better for them. I loved them. So I couldn't be the person or keep making same poor decisions and wanting best. So yeah, moving forward, no matter how many times I strayed or whatever, God was always the source of my strength. I gravitate, even when I strayed from God, to the positive feedback, to the older. For me, I had a lot of elderly women, mothers, that blessed me with what I call seed, or give me some type of advice that I gravitate to and I took to. I actually still do that. I look at women that, okay, I want to be like that, or they got this quality and I want this, because it's near, it's reachable. So if they can do it, I can do it. That's how, my attitude is. So, it was that type of stuff that I grabbed onto to help me pull out pull out those dark holes or the dark times that I was in. So do not be resistant to that. Don't push that away. Embrace it if you have it, because it's there. It's all people that go through stuff is there. Some form. Is whether you want to accept it or not.
Yeah. Sometimes you do have to accept what God allows. And who He allows in your life. Sometimes it's not don't come the way you had imagined it.
Yeah.
But just know your imaginations are vain, and just lean on not your own understanding. Just lean on God on that one. Thank you very much, for sharing that small part of your life.
So much.
Was it anything else that you wanted to share or say before we wrap up?
I look back over my life, and my strength has been nothing but the Lord. No matter how many times I strayed, no matter how many times I pushed people away, or no matter when I called on Him, He was there. No matter what I did in my life, He was there. And I get teary-eyed because of that, because it's the truth. I'm with this man, and he beating on me and stuff, but as soon as things get too bad and I call on God, He's showing up. He gonna send the people to come to show me the right way or put me on the right path. And when I decided to continue to work on me, when I decided to go to counseling, even then, I went to counseling really originally. I took advantage of that benefit with my job so I can keep getting off work. Real talk. I wanted to be able to get off work a couple times a year. So I started counseling. But even that God was still used for my good, and it helped me with the growth to a point to where I was able to start growing. I learned through counseling. It's not just going past your past. You have to face your past. You have to own the past. You have to accept the past for what it is, and then you move forward. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I want to leave that with, if you don't take nothing else with you, if you feel so low, if you feel like you ain't got nobody to talk to, you can't recognize the positive, you can't go wrong with Jesus. At my lowest, when I didn't have nobody, I called on him, and he always made a way. And it led me to a place to where I'm able to sit here and talk to you without, my tears are not even from the hurt, because I overcome. He made me whole. It's from joy, because he's that good to me. And I look back at it, and I'm telling you guys this story because I am the proof. I am witness that he can make you whole. I started that journey. I was able to, my kids did not go to prison. They did not get on drugs. They were able to graduate. I got married to a lovely man, the perfect man for me, who still helps me, who caused, actually, a lot of my growth and healing started within the last 5 to 6 years. You know what I'm saying? Just amazing. So if he'll do it for me, he could definitely do it for you. So if you don't remember anything I say, and you want to remember her strength came from God, and if he did it for her, she can do it. He can do it for you.
And that's it, guys. Ensure to share this particular video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
And that's major.
That's major, guys.